If you were asked to name the top 5 major religious feasts, would you include today's feast? Is it important enough that you've been thinking about it for a couple weeks? Did you think about it as you were walking into the church? Or did it dawn on you when you actually heard the opening greeting, the announcements? Or are you still wondering what feast I'm referring to? Today is the feast or the solemnity of the Ascension of the Lord. It's a celebration of Jesus ascending into heaven in his resurrected body, where he is right now seated at the right hand of the Father in glory, interceding for each of us by name. To most Christians, this is a feast of waiting. We're waiting for the next major feast of Pentecost and asking that God's Spirit renew us inside as the Spirit renewed the apostles at that first Pentecost, or also the fact that we're waiting for Jesus to return in glory on the last day. While this feast is important for us, we would certainly rank feasts like Easter and Christmas and Pentecost ahead of it. But it would have had more significance to those early Jewish Christians. In fact, they may have found a way to put it in the number 1 or the number 2 spot, like right behind Easter. Why? Well, when Moses built the tabernacle tent, this portable temple in the desert, Scripture says that he did it after a vision of what he saw as the temple in heaven. And so when Solomon built the temple in Jerusalem to replace that tabernacle tent Moses had made, he made sure that it replicated that model that came from heaven. And what it was there was an outer courtyard that was in an open air, and then you'd actually have the building of the temple or the tent. And inside the tent, about the front third or so there'd be this big veil that you couldn't see behind it. But if you went behind, that's where the Holy of Holies, the sanctuary, would be. And only one person went behind, and it was the high priest. And he only did it one day a year. And it was on the Day of Atonement, when he would confess the sins of Israel committed in the past year. And then they would slaughter an animal, collect the blood, and then he would go into the sanctuary behind the veil to the altar and sprinkle the blood on the altar in atonement for sins. But our second reading, the letter to the Hebrews, says, did the blood of that animal forgive the sins of the people? Did that save the people? And he's like, no, of course it didn't. But this was to prepare them for future events. He tells us that Jesus is the true high priest, and he takes on the sins of the entire world, not just Israel, and all the sins of all time. And the victim to be sacrificed is himself. But then the blood of the victim has to be brought to the altar. But this time it's not going to be the altar in Jerusalem. It's going to be the real thing. And the altar in heaven, after which the temple in Jerusalem and Moses' tabernacle tent was built. So this feast celebrates the completion of this atonement, the completion of the act of salvation, when he brings the gift of his sacrificial blood to the Father in heaven. This feast is a big deal. They would have seen the Ascension as no small thing, just as it would have been unthinkable to sacrifice an animal in those days and then not bring it to the altar of God. Or as unthinkable as it would be for us today to consecrate bread and wine up at the altar and then skip the communion rite. That wouldn't have made any sense. And so it would have been unthinkable for Jesus to be the victim, to shed the blood, and then not ascend to the true altar in the heavenly temple. So, what is the message for us today? I would say, first off, we just need to be celebrating because this is up there in the top 5 for sure, as an act of completing the act of salvation. So I don't care what you do, but do something. I don't care if you eat a big bowl of ice cream tonight and another one tomorrow. And not because June is dairy month and we need to support the farmers. We need to do something to celebrate. And let us also remember to pray to Jesus, the true high priest, who is right now at the right hand of the Father, whispering to the Father our very names and all our prayers and our intentions. And also to wait in prayer for next Sunday's feast, Pentecost, the birth of the church, and Christ's return in glory someday.